Hi, coaches, and welcome back to Tech Your Game. Today, we're going to talk about Google Calendar. We're not going to talk too much about the basics. I'm going to give you a reference of where to go if you want to learn the basics. But what we're going to talk about is how to use it as a coach to schedule team meetings, to schedule individual player evaluations, essentially to schedule just about everything you could possibly need and publish that to your team. Today on Tech Your Game. Okay, welcome back to Tech Your Game. Today we're going to talk about Google Calendar. And the great thing about Google Calendar is not that it's integrated with every other Google app, but it gives you a whole new world of customization that you can tap into to make your calendar look the way you want it to look, to operate the way you want it to operate. So let's just get into Google Calendar, the basics of it. If you wanted to go there, just like anything else Google, you'd type in calendar, you go into your address bar and you type calendar.google.com and your default calendar would come up. So I'm going to close this other tab. Now I've already done a little bit of customization with this calendar, so let me talk you through how you can customize it for the way you want to see it. Okay, the first thing is we're going to go over to the settings button and we're going to click on, or we're going to go over to the settings wheel and click on settings. And inside the settings are a lot of things that you will want to do to make your calendar look the way you want it to look. But first I want to take you into the labs. Over here, up along the top, we're going to click on labs. And what labs are, they are experimental add-ons to calendar, things that people have developed within Google and outside of Google that Google has approved and enhance your ability to manage your calculator or your calendar. First thing they have on that I like to use is hide morning and night. The reason I like to use that is I'm not doing anything between about 10 o'clock at night and about 5 in the morning. So why look at all that space on my calendar? So I'm going to enable that lab to get rid of that area of my calendar that I never use. It's less clutter for my life. Automatically declining events, okay, allows you to block off time where you're busy and immediately send a message back to people. I'm not going to do that on this calendar. Who's my one-on-one with? You probably know that, but if somebody sent you a calendar invite and you accept it, you want to remember who sent that to you and how it got onto your calendar, you would click on that. Year view, I like to enable that so I can always get a look at the whole year. Background image, I enabled that. You saw my little partial bit of my logo when we first looked at the calendar, so I'm going to enable that and I'll show you how to set that background image. Free or busy, you can enable that, but it really only works with people you actually share your calendar with, or to. And so you may not need that at all. Jump to date, and you're going to enable that if you want to jump to a certain date and look at just that date. I enabled that. Next meeting, you'll enable that, and it'll give you a sidebar and a alert for when your next meeting is. I kind of like that, but I'm not going to enable it here. And then world clock, if you want to use a world clock. Then you save your settings, and then you come back in here and we're going to talk about how to create events. Well, first of all, when you created your Google account, it gave you one calendar. It's the calendar under your name. In my case, it's your Tech Your Game calendar. And so over here under my calendars, you click down on that. It's got my name, and then it's got a birthday calendar that I added in there. And it's got a task list. Now, tasks can also be switched to reminders, and you can use your calendar to send you reminders. I like to use it for tasks, so I'm going to switch it back to tasks. And all the way over here on the right, you can see that it gives me a little pane to write in schedule game on August 17th. I'm going to remember to do that. I'm going to put that in. I'm going to click on a due date. I'm going to say I want to do that by Friday the 14th. Send note to Coach Hall. and I can get back to that. It'll remind me, it'll be over here on my task list, and it will be there until I check it off. Calendar's great for adding tasks, adding reminders, and those things can be sent to you automated. You can put actions on it to, tell that task what if you want reminded. But that's not really what I wanted to get into here. I wanted to get into just creating normal events. Okay, so as you see, that task went in here under the 14th. That's when I said I wanted to get it done by. If I check it, it's going to check off over here and say that task is complete, but it'll just line through it so I remember what I did. All right, so I'll uncheck that, leave that open. Now, a normal calendar event. What I think is so cool is a lot of people don't want to go into this page. They don't want to go onto the calendar, and they don't want to have to go through all that. What you can do is just from any web page, and this is a Google Earth background, it comes up automatically. You can just type in something like schedule a doctor's appointment August 2nd at 2 p.m. and then hit enter. What it's going to give you is this right here that says create an event. Click on create an event, and the event will be created in your calendar. So let's go back and look at our calendar on August 2nd. Okay, August 2nd, right there it is, doctor appointment. If I want to, I can go into this event and I can add different things that I might need to know. That doctor's appointment might be an hour long. I can change that. I can enter location, so I'm reminded in a direct link back to Google Maps. I can change the calendar if I want. I can add some guests if there's people that need to know. I can put a description on it. I can change the event color. You name it, and most importantly, I think it's going to give me a default 30-minute notification. That might not be enough, so I might put in hours and say 3 hours, because if I forget on that day, I'm going to need 3 hours to get ready, and then just save it. So as you can see, it's been added, and it's now an hour long, and it's going to send me a notification 3 hours ahead of time. Okay, now there's a lot of different ways you can add. If you want to go into Google Calendar and add everything from Calendar, that's great. Go into Google Calendar. First thing you can do is you can click Create, and it'll bring open an event. So you can schedule a game if you want. Maybe you have a football game coming up on the 18th, and it's going to be at 7 p.m., and it's going to run for 3 hours. Okay, and location and description and maybe if you want to give it a different color and notification, you can even turn off the notifications, because you probably, if you're a coach, you don't need to be reminded you have a game that day. Mark it as busy so nobody else can schedule on top of that. The calendar default is going to be whatever you set your calendars to be. Now, if you make this a team calendar and you just want to put team stuff on it, you can make it public. All right, and we can share that out with everybody in the world. Okay, so if I save that, again, you have on your calendars, you can see different views. If I want to look at the whole month, I can click on month, and right here at 7 p.m. on the 18th is that game. Okay, so this is basic calendar functions. If you want to add an event on a certain day and you're inside of a week view and you want to add a calendar event right here, and you forgot there's a scrimmage on this day, you just click in there. It'll bring up the event creation. And then click on edit the event. You can change the amount of hours that you have set up for it, where it's going to be, and any details you want to put in there. You can even invite other people. Okay, now let me show you a really cool trick for setting up meetings with parents individually or setting up meetings with players individually. And you can use this function if you have a school or a work Google account, not your personal Google account, which I really hope they fix, but they haven't fixed yet. Right now, and I'm going to go, this is my school account. So this is my school calendar, all right, for one of the schools I'm affiliated with. And what you can do is say on Saturday from noon to 5 p.m. is going to be your time. Every 15 minutes, you'll have a meeting slot available. So I'm going to click and drag 12 to 5. And up here at the top, it says appointment slots. Okay, and what it's going to allow you to do is set up a calendar, all right, event. So we're going to call this one player reviews. Okay, and it says time block on 7/15 from 12 noon to 5 p.m. I'm going to offer slots of 15 minutes at, and you can put an address in, or and then you can take this address and you can send it. Okay, and go to the details here. You can take this address and you can send it to your players, and what will look like on their end is it will have all of the slots lined up, and they will just click on a slot and it will allow them to schedule to meet in that slot. Now, as soon as they save it, that slot is taken out of the available slots between 12 and 5, and everybody else who comes in afterwards can go ahead and pick what's left. And I think that's, there's Sign Up Genius, there's a lot of other services, but again, we want to stay within the Google apps because they work so well together. And this is just an excellent way to set up office hours for if you want parents to feel like they can come in and talk to you about something and you just want to be in your coach's office and have that event set up. And then it'll go and insert those all on your calendar, tell you who's coming, when they're coming, and you'll have that already set up. So that's a great feature of Google Calendars if you have a work or a school account. And again, I hope they bring this to the individual accounts that are out there, because I know a lot of you have individual accounts and you have to go through other services to make this happen, or you have to send out individual events to have people schedule. But this is a great feature if you have a work or school Google account. Okay, another thing I really like about Google Calendars for coaches is that you can create as many calendars as you want and share those with your other coaches to collaborate on things. I overdid it a little bit here on my calendar. You can see there's my name and then all the different aspects of the game. And you can create a practice plan this way. You can have the transition aspect of your game, and you can put in an event for 10 minutes that you want to run during a practice area. And then once you get that all done, it'll just lay them all out here by color into your calendar. It is a way to schedule practice. I've tried it. I'm not thrilled with it. I'm kind of back into using Google Sheets for my practice plans and then sharing those sheets. But calendars can be a way to do that. So if you want to, create a new calendar, you come over here under My Calendars, click on the drop down, create a new calendar, and say you want your defense coordinator to have a calendar that you share with them. And you don't have to put in anything for description. It might be self-explanatory. Okay, and then share this calendar with others. You can make it a public, but I would say you want to just share this with another coach, just click on share it. All right, and then put in the email address. And that other coach will get a notification to say the calendar's been shared with them. And they can see all event details, or they can make changes to events. That's probably what you want them to do, make changes. So click on allow them to make changes and create the calendar. Or you sure you want to give access, or it's going to ask you to verify that? Click OK. And now you have a calendar for your defensive coordinator, and you can set up meetings there. And inside of those meetings, okay, defensive planning group. All right, I'm going to go ahead and create an event. All right, from within there, create an event on this calendar. Okay, and we'll call that event defensive planning meeting. We're going to have it on Friday, 2:30, and it will go to the other coach and tell them that from 2:30 to 3:30 we're going to have that. We can add in some additional guests for other people we might want to have. We can add a video meeting. Okay, you can create a Google Hangout and invite other people in to that Google Hangout just by clicking on add a video to that meeting, and then go ahead and save it. Come back over here to the defensive planning meeting, and right here it says meet.google.com. That link, if the person who can't make the meeting, can't be present, clicks on that link, and you're online on your calendar on the other end, you can receive them. You can start a Google Hangout and bring them right into the meeting. Okay, so great little feature of Google Calendar is to add a video option to that meeting for those coaches that can't make it. And you know it happens to me all the time. I can't make that day or time, but I'm available at home through Google Hangouts if you want. And that's an option, and it's a good option. You ought to use it. Allow them to be part of the meeting at the convenience of staying home and watching their kids, which is generally a high priority for coaches in the off season when you're doing your planning, and you're supposed to be giving back some of that time to your family. So a few things in here that are really great about Google Calendar. Okay, creating your individual calendars, sharing them with others, having a video conference available, creating appointment slots, and then customizing any way you like. If you want to have a background to this, you can come into the settings, you can go into labs, you can come down here to where it says background image, enable that, save it, okay, and then go back into your settings. All right, and down here where it says enter image URL, just go to wherever that is that you created that picture. Let's say we go to this and we want to copy the image address and use that as our background. We copy the image address, we come back to the calendar, we drop that image address in here, we preview it, it's going to show you that, and then you hit save, and boom, right in the back of your calendar is the picture of Mason Staff Center or whatever other picture you want to have. Sometimes these can be distracting, but sometimes with the right contrast, you can have a really cool looking calendar. This picture will only be resident on your view on your calendar. So if you send this calendar to somebody else, you don't have to worry about that. This is just for you. And again, customize your calendar. You could also customize things like, go back into the labs that says hide morning and night. I like to do this. I'm going to save that. And what it allows you to do is drag to the time range. I don't want to see anything from midnight to 5 a.m. And then I'll go all the way up till 10 p.m. and I'll hide everything else. So now I only have to see between 5 a.m. and 10 p.m. Everything else doesn't matter to me because I don't have appointments during that time. And it makes this calendar easier to read. Okay, so there's a bunch of tips and tricks that you can use to customize your calendar. But again, creating calendars, sharing them with others, using them to coordinate meeting activities, adding details to those meetings. You can create and add an agenda that you can send out with your meeting reminder so people know what's going on during that meeting, and then you can be productive right away. I hope this helps. I know it's a little bit jumbled here because you have the work and school accounts versus your personal accounts, but Gmail's calendar, available on every device, is a great way to keep yourself organized, on schedule, and on track over the long term. I hope this is helpful. Enjoy your day. Be more productive. Thank you.